Hello and welcome to the Dreedle podcast. I'm Allie and I am here. Yeah.
I'm Danny Hayes. It's the
And
Danny.
today we're going to be talking about some stuff. First of all, we wanted to introduce ourselves and how we met. So, yeah.
Yes. I'm Danny. I'm from the internet, and most of the people I meet are on the internet. And I met this Allie.
Yeah.
On YouTube.
I was looking around YouTube, and I don't even know how I found it, but I was coming across some costuming videos, and I found Healer McCracken, aka 13 the Furry, and I was like, wait, what? So I started looking at her videos, and I just came across some really chill videos, so then I commented, and here we are. That's how it went down.
Yep.
Yeah.
100 years later. Here's how things have
that's
come
how
to
it
be.
went down.
Yeah. So I fursuit. I make fursuits. That's a small portion of my life. And pretty much what caused this to happen.
It was like, I just called you like, we should make a podcast! And here we are, like half an hour later. That was...
Well, you know how time flies.
And you're having fun.
I'm having
Are
a
you
blast.
ready to jingle your bells?
Yeah.
Ow. Yes.
Djibouti does.
That's the best channel, though, really? Okay. So today we wanted to talk about what?
Religion and fursuiting.
Yeah, because those are completely related. You'll see later on, I guess.
Yeah, so as these things are all going to mix together in a beautiful symphony of colors, I thought I'd mention, first off, just dive right in here. When I was at Califor last year, and as stated earlier, I can't remember what number is which caliber. I'm just gonna say that this is Califor 90. So last year at Califor 90, I believe it was the second day. So on Saturday, we went to a rave, and after a full day of full suiting, those things get really freaking hot. And like going from the Headless Lounge to the rave where I was standing on the stage, kind of dancing my cares away, dancing if I wanted to. I decided that I wanted to go back up to the, I was just about to say apartment. Yes, I wanted to go back up to the apartment.
After a while.
It really does. The condo, the living space.
Yeah! Okay, what?
I wanted to sleep, man.
Yeah.
I just wanted to sleep. So I got, I stood in the area where all of the elevators are, and just to kind of elaborate here, I believe K-Rock was having a thing that same weekend, so there is an interesting of people.
Yeah, it was like just a
that
bunch
hotel.
of random people walking around with these confused looks on their faces.
And then, most of them had, tattoos or facial hair, looked like they needed to be fans, but they weren't. Where's the monster energy? But anyways, I got in an elevator, and I was in my full suit, and this was my first time I was full suiting at this convention. So I just walk in there. I'm really freaking tired. I had a headache. I was feeling weak, and the entire fursuit I was in was soggy at this point. So I was just standing there, leaning on the back of the elevator, Jesus Christ, please, just, Jesus,
I was
bring
there
me
for
upstairs.
that, right?
And no, I think you were still at the rave.
What time was it though? It was kind of late. Yeah, it must have been around 11 or 12. Maybe. Yeah.
It was around 11.
Yes.
Death o'clock. And so I was standing in the elevator, and I quickly realized that surrounding me is a very short person holding a beer. And if I can remember this correctly, he was also wearing some type of a sombrero, or just what you'd see as a cowboy hat made out of straw. I believe so. I believe that was happening. He looked like he belonged at the OC fair. But he wasn't. He was at a furry convention. And there was one man standing next to him and two babes. And so I was just standing there in that elevator, and I can't remember if there was any conversation. I was just awkwardly standing there in the longest elevator ride that I've ever had, just kind of looking over at them in my giant Sparkle Dog hyena costume. And I think that's the strangest, most, the weirdest out-of-body experience I've ever had.
Yeah, I guess kind of literally out-of-body, huh? Because, like, you're healer, and I tried.
They never saw my face.
Wake me up inside.
You tried, man. And that's how Mr. McCracken lost his virginity. So that's my story. Basically, that sums up Caliper. Really, I'd have to say something like that happens at least.
Yeah, and this is where we bring up religion, because those people need Jesus.
Oh yeah, the furries, the furry fandom. All of them. They all need Jesus.
Some of them, the vast majority of them. Yeah.
Do you have any memories
from Caliper? The only one that I can think of is, like, now when I think back to it, it makes me laugh so hard that, like, Duke the Dancing Dog was there. And everyone, including me, for the record, was freaking out about it. And for those of you who don't know, Duke the Dancing Dog was this one costumer, fursuiter, who was, like, completely kind of famous in the furry fandom. So he shows up, and I'm just like, I'm in this costume, and my character is extremely hyper and upbeat. So I walk up to Duke the Dancing Dog, and I'm like, oh my god, hi! I, like, flip out. And it was just, he had, I think, a Boston accent. Yeah, and it made me laugh. I was like, I was not expecting this. And then, like, it made my whole day. I don't know. It was kind of a random thing, but it was worth mentioning that I fangirled over a German Shepherd.
I think that Duke fursuit has actually been passed around a lot, because I've heard that, at some point that Duke was from Australia. I don't know where I heard that. With a Boston accent. Yeah, that was interesting. I remember standing in front of Duke the Dancing Dog, and he's just like, hey, ladies, when obviously Healer McCracken is a man. In fact, a dude at that, who's just freaking like, hey, man, what the hell did you mean by that? You want to go, brother?
Well, then, Caliper next year.
Oh, God, that's going to be...
Zero shizzles were given. Yeah. Now, where does religion even come into this?
What religion do you think Duke the Dancing Dog is?
Probably, yeah, I don't know. Probably...
he seems perhaps...
He seems like a Catholic guy, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he seems Catholic. So we've pinned this one fursuiter out of, a cesspool of many.
Okay.
As
we're
Catholic.
Getting somewhere.
So there we go. That's mixing in, furries and religion.
Okay. Maybe we could branch it off with, like, types of people categorized as a certain religion. That seems kind of interesting to me. How groups of people, like certain ethnicities, are grouped with certain religions. I don't know how those tie in together, but it just does.
I think it's mainly has to do with stereotypes. People are just like, oh, that person's, I don't know, Hispanic, so they gotta be Catholic. I've never really thought that way, though, honestly, personally. Even though, ironically, I just pinned Duke the Dancing Dog as Catholic, but that was really a joke. I swear to God.
I don't know. I've just noticed it, just kind of being around, like 400 people at a time. It's like, I don't know. It seems to be a common thing. The majority of the people at my school are Catholic, I think. So, it's interesting.
Huh. I think if this is right, that most people are either Christian or Catholic. I mean, at least in America, I know that's the
I wonder
vast
what
majority.
I know the most popular religion, I think, is Christian at this point. I'm not 100% sure. It's either Christian or Catholic, but it's interesting how those are.
I've mostly learned that those two are basically the same thing. It's just Catholics have idols. And
I don't really know much about Catholicism, but I definitely know a lot about Christianity. What else? I'm trying to think of ways to continue it, but I'm like, Let's see.
Well, like, I guess we could talk about personally how we feel.
You want to go first? Yeah.
Religion. Personally, I would consider myself, or at least categorize myself as agnostic. I grew up in a Christian family, and I never really enjoyed going to church, Bible study, youth group, the millions of things that children are put through when they're grown up in a religious household. I just never really enjoyed that. I never felt like, I was learning anything or that it was worth anything, as all the adults around me said it was supposed to. So I always felt like kind of a sense of insecurity about that, kind of like, what's wrong with me? Why am I not enjoying this when I should be? But, I can't remember exactly what age I was that I was like, screw this, I'm gonna go through my emo phase and become atheist. It was like, it was a long, hard road of trying to get out of the mindset that if I do let go of Christianity, I'm not going to go to hell.
I learned one thing that was saying that the concept of heaven and hell was made just to scare people into staying, because I read this one quote online that had said, without religion you won't have order. Which makes sense, because people are like, oh, I'm a good Christian, I'm a good this religion, I'm good because I'm this religion, and it seems like they're stereotyped to be good. People just...
Right, but it's kind of sad, though, because do some people really need a religion in order to be a good person? Because people can have values even when they don't have a religion. People can have basic
if nothing
common
else,
sense.
I would think that general right and wrong are kind of built into people, because one, they grow up being taught that, like, stealing is wrong, robbing a house is wrong, certain things are wrong, and other things are right. It's just very interesting to me. Not really.
I think that the real chaos that would arise would be not if religion was removed, but if society was removed. Because then there wouldn't be those laws telling people that they're not supposed to murder.
It's interesting. Just how... I'm still kind of thinking about how people are categorized based on their religion as being good people or bad people, depending on which religion it is. Depending on their stereotypes and stuff.
Right. I mean, again, like, there's not much I could really say about anyone other than Christians. That's the only real thing that I've had to study or have been made aware of.
Because I went to a private Christian elementary school, a Presbyterian Christian, I don't know, elementary school. And we had to, like, memorize Bible verses every week. And it was just... I know a lot more about Christianity than I know about other religions, but I did grow up in a mixed household between Judaism and Christianity, so it's kind of a split thing for me. But I don't know, I feel like maybe people could be taught about other religions. I know in my school we aren't allowed to talk about religion, which is very interesting. I don't know why. Maybe it's just to keep people from arguing, and because there are some hostile things about it. I guess I can see how it would work, because it would prevent people from, like, I don't know, getting, hostile, I guess is the better way to put it.
I mean, the only memories I really have that I guess could slightly relate to that would be every Thursday, and I think it was 6th through 8th grade, I was taken to a Bible study, and I just remember the biggest part of that I do remember wasn't necessarily the fact that I had to learn a Bible verse every week and I had to do, like, mass amounts of, like, studying, and it was just ridiculous. But really what stood out to me was the fact that, you know, it was promoting love and acceptance. And, you know, you think going into a religious setting like that, everybody would be kind to you, everybody would be non-judgmental, but it was pretty much the opposite from that. I was going there for like 3 to 4 years, and barely anyone there even tried to talk to me.
It's like when you go into a new setting, and it's like you expect everyone to just... if they want you around, they're going to be welcoming to you, and then after a while, you go there, people just kind of stop caring, and you're put into the shadow.
Right. I mean, I wasn't really the most social child anyways. I probably came across as really shy, but at the same time, it seemed like everybody else didn't really want to be there either. It was like a gathering of children and just kind of indoctrinating them. That's kind of an extreme way of putting it, but looking back at it, there was a time, there where one of the teachers, she was actually the mother of one of the kids there, so it wasn't anything professional at all, not that these things ever are, but she was like starting to talk about something about religion and how at one point she actually wasn't a Christian. She was starting to get emotional about it in front of the kids, like, oh, there was such a dark time in my life when I didn't have Jesus. And like all these kids, like we were like 7th grade, and I was just sitting there staring at her like, holy crap. Is this what's gonna happen to me? I grew up
thinking, like, whenever I would go to, like, we had, I think it was every Monday, we would go to chapel, and it was really interesting because they would have people come to the school sometimes and talk about how they had lost touch of God, and then that was a very bad time, and I thought about it, and I was thinking, well, does that mean that every time that I don't feel very passionate towards religion, that's going to be a dark time for me? That's like, I think the youngest time that I ever really thought about, well, maybe you don't need religion to be a happy person. Because I grew up thinking that religion would make you a happy person.
Yeah. It's like after a while, there's only so much you can take. There's only so much of it that's even interesting anymore. Like, it makes me wonder, people who actually grew up Christian and stayed Christian, how do they not get tired of, like, hearing the same things over and over again? How do they not have the entire book
it all
memorized,
sounds kind of the same to me.
It's always just kind of a gathering of people that are kind of bashing on each other, but not really.
Yeah, what I've noticed is that you show up, everyone talks for like 5 minutes, you sit down, you listen to the person talk, then you pray, like, throughout the whole time you pray like maybe 10 times, and then you go to a potluck, and then you talk and you leave.
You go to the luncheon with all the little old ladies, and they make that stuff that has the jello and the macaroni.
I had the same experience, and it feels all the same. And although that can be good, like, you go to different churches, and it's all, like, kind of the same stuff, so you're like, okay, I can relate to this. But also, if you don't really agree with it, it can feel, like, really, I don't know what the word for it is. Not unoriginal, but just monotonous and, frankly, boring.
Yeah. It always felt like a really big looming weight over my head. At least for me. I went to a Baptist church a few years ago, actually. That was the last church I actually went to before I became a Satanist. No, I'm just kidding. But, like, basically, I just remember these youth groups were kind of late at night. I believe they started at 6 p.m. And there were a few people there that I guess I sort of befriended. And it was funny because the thing that brought us together was the fact that I had mentioned DeviantArt once. She's like, oh yeah, DeviantArt, I watch anime.
Like, trying to connect
like, okay,
in the most
I'll stick around with you then.
tiny ways.
Right, exactly. And then this other person listened to K-pop. So it was like a triangle of people, And I was the odd one out because I didn't watch anime. These other two people did watch anime, and they did listen to K-pop. I didn't, so I just sat around listening to them talking about, oh my god, these Asian people and, like, their music.
Yes.
Like, that's literally how they would talk. I'm sorry, I'm not even being racist. But, so, I mean, even then, I felt like it was a struggle, and there was one point where I felt like I there was something I needed to kind of talk to the preacher about, or the lead teacher, who was also the preacher of the actual, like, Sunday service, and I did. I said it in front of the class, and I was nearly in tears. I was very upset about it, actually. I'm not going to get into detail about it, but basically, he just looked at me. He's like, okay, and just continued on. Like, literally, that's how it felt, and I was just sitting there,
just like,
in shock.
I just told you my feelings.
Exactly. Like, this took me a month to, like, thinking about it over breakfast, and I finally said it, and you're just like, whatever. Tell it to Jesus.
Bruh, why you do this?
It was just... Oh my god, one of my last experiences from that, actually. This is absolutely horrible, but it makes me laugh, because it's just, oh my god. Oh god, there was this lady, or actually she was a teenager too, she was a few years older than me, and she went to public school, and she was sitting on the couch waiting for it to start, you know, youth group to start. And I was sitting next to her, we never really talked, we just kind of existed in the same place, and she said, you know, I just found out I have I don't even know what it was. I think she actually said she was having problems with her heart. And she said that with the pastor's wife right next to her. And that's the last time I saw her, and that's the last time anything was spoken about her. Or anybody at that church in general, because I think that was the last time I even went to that church. So it kind of left me on, like, a cliffhanger, because there was an old pastor that when the youth group was there, the old pastor was there, and when he left, they just stopped it all together. I never heard anything about the people there again. It's like they didn't even care anymore. It's the weirdest thing.
That's
yeah. It's all I can do is laugh to just push out the disturbing thoughts. I don't think she passed away or anything, but it was like, wow, do you guys really not care? I was just like, had a bomb dropped on me, and it was like, well, youth group's over, bye kids.
It's like, what I'm most familiar with is, like, I've gone to when I think about it, I've gone to 4 or 5 different churches slightly regularly, with certain ones, and a lot of them were so similar in the fact that, like, they'd have maybe a 5-minute section where they'd be like, okay, now say something that's been going on in your life. And then they'd say it, and then it's like the pastor would write it down, and then we'd all pray for those people.
Right.
Yes, and you just sit there falling asleep, or, like, I would always draw.
I know, I would draw in, like, the
given
Sunday
that
service, too. And after a while, my parents realized I wasn't paying attention, so they'd stop giving me attention.
Given that, like, when I would go, it was my grandma's church, I was just going because, like, I had to make sure everything was going fine, and I don't know. But it's just... why?
So many memories, just... It's so weird thinking that was so long ago, because I'm remembering these things so vividly.
I remember going to this one church, and I'd walk in, and the music was so loud. It was louder than Califer.
Right, it's like
and
full
they're
of
trying
orchestra.
to appeal to teens by deafening them. Awesome.
It's like, hey guys, look, we upgraded our acoustic to electric. And now we're gonna play gospel music.
Yeah, they play, like, rock gospel. Like, in God we trust.
It's like cheesy.
That's exactly.
I know. That, pretty much everybody has to stand, like, put their hand over their heart, like, hell yeah, I'm really enjoying this
Rejoice.
rock music, yeah.
That's basically how it is. It's... Yes.
Mosh and rejoice.
In we trust.
Oh my god. What if churches started to catch on to the dubstep.
I think they already have at this point. I haven't been to a church in a few months. Yeah.
And hey guys, if you say that you believe in Jesus, we have Skrillex waiting in the back.
It's like he's headbanging in the back. I said, gotta go fast. I saw this one Vine of Skrillex, and he was like, just totally whipping his hair back and forth, and then there was a narrator saying, I haven't washed my hair in 3 months. Oh, it's so dirty. And it wasn't funny when I watched it, but now I think back to it, and it's funny for, like, no reason.
Gotta love Vine, and gotta love
so,
Jesus.
Like, do you think we've come up with all the stuff we had to say, or got any more to add?
I think I'm having fun.
Okay, well.
I want to try to think of something else.
I think we've...
I mean, it's only been 40 minutes. Do you want to add anything else?
I've been recording for 27 minutes, so...
Okay, let me see what else.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, same.
I think we're pretty good. I think, like, about 30 minutes is a good length for now.
Okay. So, what should we do for the exit?
Well, I guess just, like, thank you for listening to our podcast. I hope
we ended it a little bit abruptly. So maybe we should just say something like involving church and then just be like, yo, thanks for listening.
I wonder if they can comment on podcasts. I think they can. That'd be super cool to comment on podcasts. I wish I had more time over the week that I could just listen to podcasts over coffee or something.
I know, right? It's a simple life, you know. Just enjoy a bagel, listen to Jenna Marbles.
That's gonna be me as an adult. I had a dream I met Jenna Marbles. I don't remember in what context, but it was like, oh yeah, I needed advice on something. And I was just, like, asking her about something. I don't even remember, but it was a weird dream. It involved me swimming somewhere. A great distance. It was... Yes.
It's a long trick. I've had so many dreams about water ever since the cruise. It's just constant. Wow. Literally constant. I have, like, at least 3 dreams a week about the cruise. It's insane.
Wow.
But actually, like, I think a few nights ago I had a dream where the entire back section of what was supposed to be my old house, but wasn't actually, was made out of glass. It was pretty cool, and you were in the dream too, actually, but, like, very quickly, like, all we were doing was, like, parkouring on the steps, and then it ended.
Parkour, and then, like, tripping. Basically.
That literally is.
That's what it is. Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, religion, Bible study, going to church, filling out the stuff, talking about Jesus. Yeah. Oh yeah, fursuits. Oh man.
Yeah. So, yeah, we hope that you enjoyed this podcast. This is our first podcast. I don't know. I kind of look forward, if we can do this in the future, to, like, seeing how it changes over time, you know? I need to work on the album art once this is done, huh? Yes.
C-Punk.
Stay tuned, folks. Yeah.
Thanks for watching.